Hi, John here, the Hat Guy. Wanted to talk a little bit about talking on the telephone. I had a interesting experience today. I had to speak with a VA center. Happened to be the one in Memphis, Tennessee. It was not for myself. I was calling on behalf of someone. It was extraordinarily frustrating. I mean, we've all become used to the phone trees and the oftentimes fruitless search through the phone tree to actually find a live person, and then to hope beyond hope that that person is at least competent enough to answer our question. The VA center, at least the one in Memphis, has taken this to an altogether new level. When you call this place, you're given a lengthy menu of options. The first option of which is the suicide hotline, which is fascinating because by the time you actually get to somebody who can help you, if you ever get there, thoughts of suicide are probably beginning to form in the back of your mind, especially if you're in need of help and desperate, and that's your only option, and you're just hitting one dead end after another. It's something. Talk about something that needs to be addressed. That is something that needs to be addressed. All I was trying to do was get a hold of somebody in the medical records department, and just to answer a simple question. And this was in response to a letter that was received asking specifically to call that department, and gave an extension. So I dialed the number, and after listening through the phone tree, well, trying the extension first, the extension took me straight to the suicide hotline. It was supposed to be the medical records extension. So and it wouldn't let me get out of it, so I hung up and called back. When I called back, there were no options for medical records, so I pressed 0 for the operator. Then there was a series of advertisements, which, why that would be on a phone call, I don't know, but it seems like all the hospitals and doctors' offices are doing it now. I'm all about capitalism, but, come on. It's people are trying to get help here. You don't need to advertise all your nonsense. So at any rate, eventually, after about a minute or two, a recording comes on and tells me that the operator will come on the phone in 3 minutes. So 5 minutes later, the operator eventually came on. She was rude. Now it was Memphis, Tennessee, so she had a southern accent. I don't have a problem with that. I, in fact, love the southern accent. I think it's beautiful. But when you couple it with impatience and the lackadaisical, non-caring attitude that this person projected was astonishing. Eventually, she agreed to transfer me to medical records, where it went straight to voicemail. Needless to say, I had to start over because I needed to speak to someone in response to this letter, and it had to be right away. Couldn't leave a message. I know from past experience that they do not call back. So I went through the thing again, waited another, I think 7 minutes this time, although it still said 3. And when it got down to 0, that was interesting because it was, the operator will come on in the 0 minutes, and it was like 3 minutes later that she eventually did. So that was a fascinating experience in and of itself. So by the time I actually get someone on the phone, it's been 25 minutes. And I stop her from transferring me right away, explain that we have a letter, and the letter says that we need to call this extension, but the extension takes us to the suicide hotline. And she says, well, did you dial a 1 before it? Well, no, it doesn't say so. If you give me a 4-digit extension, how am I supposed to arbitrarily just know that it's really a 5-digit extension with a 1 in front of it? The phone tree didn't say that. The letter didn't say that. It really? It was just crazy. So she transferred me, and this time it actually got a live person. And the person that answered the phone was sounded like she was trying her best to be awake. And this was late morning, probably 10 o'clock Central Time, or thereabouts. And she spoke like she had a mouthful of marbles. Southern accent, which, like I said, I enjoy the Southern accent. But when you put a lethargic, lackadaisical attitude along with that Southern accent and squeeze in a heavy dose of Ebonics, which on a phone call that's supposed to be helping people, no, that's, it's, I can see it. If you're talking to a certain crowd of people, then okay, great, that might help them. But it didn't help me. And I had to ask her to repeat herself about 7 times. And eventually we managed to communicate, and she gave me the information I needed. Although that took several minutes, and she had to put me on hold to consult with someone else. And by the time I finally got through and got the information I needed, it had been more than a half hour, just for a simple question that involved a simple answer. It was astonishing. And my thought as soon as I hung the phone up once again was, it's no wonder the veteran suicide rate is so high. And that saddens me beyond belief. It's not just a VA center. You talk to pretty much any hospital in America, but any major company, you get the same thing. You end up with this phone tree that is designed to make it impossible or nearly impossible for you to actually get to a live person. And it's, you get a menu of 9 things, and you go through and you select one. None of them are exactly what you want, but you pick the closest one. And then that one gives you a menu of, 7 more things. And it's just, menu after menu after menu of craziness. And by the time you get to someone, they don't want to help you. I came up with an idea a long time ago. I first told people it was a theory. It's not really a theory. It's more of an equation. And I call it, and I don't mean to pick on McDonald's or McDonald's employees, but I call it the economics of McDonald's. And what I mean by that is, well, it's a formula. And it's a very simple formula. The strength of the economy is inversely proportional to the quality of service you get at your average McDonald's or typical fast food restaurant of any kind. And what I mean by that is, if the economy is doing bad, then you go into a fast food restaurant and it's staffed by people who are intelligent and eager to help you. And when the economy gets better, those people get better jobs and move on. And if it gets really good, then these kind of places end up with people who have very little work ethic or ability or care, and it shows in what they do. They slap things together and throw it at you, and get offended when you don't thank them for it properly. And I think what that means is that our economy is doing pretty good, because it's traveled beyond the fast food industry and into the customer service industry in hospitals. And if they're getting the type of employees that would normally work at McDonald's, I'd hate to see what's at a McDonald's. I don't go to those places anymore, but according to my theory, it must be horrible now. And I know there are exceptions to every rules. I've gone to places fairly recently that the people were extremely and extraordinarily helpful. But I'm talking generalities as a general rule. And especially when you get closer to certain neighborhoods in the cities, the neighborhoods where, like the higher crime neighborhoods, for example, they tend to have more of that in those type of industries. But at any rate, that's just my opinion. And if anybody is listening to this that has any ability to do anything, or if you're in a position to hire people or to train people, teach them how to answer the phone. I called a hospital in California last week that was answered by someone with, "Hello?" This is a hospital operator, and you're answering it like you're answering your phone at home. It's ludicrous. I'm John. I'm the hat guy, and that's my opinion.